Welcome back, everyone. In this segment, I will talk about the Lions season home opener in a little bit more detail for you. I'm going to talk a little bit also about last year's game as part of this. This is going to be a very interesting game for a few reasons, and already is on the surface. Both teams lost their season opener to divisional opponents. Whoever loses this game is going to be 0-2, not just 0-2, but 0-2 in the division. And only 10%, just over 10% of teams make it to the playoffs starting out 0-2. When you start 0-2 in your division, that percentage goes way down. I can only think of one team to start 0-2 in their division and actually make it to the playoffs. And only one time that I can think of, and that would be the 1995 team, has a Lion team started 0-2 and made the playoffs. So this is a very, very crucial game early in the season for the Lions. What also adds intrigue to it, of course, is that they're facing their former offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, and not just doing that, but it's a divisional opponent. And of course, with Frank Ragnow's retirement, plus the fact that they have a rookie guard, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they're able to do tomorrow in this game. What I kind of think is going to happen is I believe the Lions are going to run for a lot more than 46 yards. That was tied for the fewest with the Bengals in the NFL in week one. The Lions are a better run team than that, even without Frank Ragnow at center. So they're going to find a way to at least be between, around 18 to 20 by the time the season ends. I think they're going to do a whole lot better against the Bears than they did against the Packers the first week of the season, especially since the Vikings were able to run for 120 yards against them. There's no reason why the Lions won't be able to run for at least 80 yards against the Bears in this game. The other thing I'm going to say is if the Lions somehow manage not to win this game, and it's entirely possible, and I'll get to that in a minute. If I were the Lions, I'd be calling Frank Ragnow. I would have Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell go to Frank Ragnow's house and not leave there until they have him signed, because he's going to be very crucial for the rest of the season. And I still believe that Frank Ragnow will be back with the Lions before the end of this season. Mark my words on that. It's going to be interesting how this game goes. I don't know, what Ben Johnson has up his sleeve, but I would suspect that there will be at least one trick play from him, and hopefully the Lions will be ready for it. What Dan Campbell has planned, I have no idea, but if I were the Lions, I would certainly try to run the football more, which I believe they'll try to do, and also, maintain the same amount of ball control they had against the Packers. If they do that, I believe the Lions will win. The other thing that adds intrigue to this game is the fact that last year, the Lions didn't play a particularly good game against the Bears, although the Bears played extremely well. It was one of the few home games they had last year where they did not have at least 4 touchdowns in it. They got out to an early lead, but the Bears came back in the second half. And the final drive of the game, they actually had a chance to send the game into overtime or to possibly win it. However, poor clock management, especially in the last 20 seconds of that game, led to time running out, and the Lions ended up winning the game 23-20. This is a much better Bears team than last year, and the Lions right now, while they're not as good offensively, they are better defensively, and the Lions are going to need to rely on that defense to win, to be sure. And since I already said it, so I don't end up having another segment, I'm just going to combine it in this segment. Yes, I believe the Lions are going to win this game, not only because they are a better team than the Bears, they're at home, but also they must win this game in order to have any realistic playoff chance that there is. I think they can less afford to lose this game right now than the Bears can. And yes, while it's possible that you can still make the playoffs starting out 0-2 in your division, as I've stated, I've only seen one team do it. And though, whoever loses this game still has a somewhat realistic shot at that, they would be no better than the 7th seed and would be looking to go out after one playoff game. For the Bears, that would be a pretty good season for them. But right now, the Lions need this game much more than the Bears do, as far as I'm concerned. And that will do it for another episode of the Detroit Lions tomorrow. Next week, I will preview the Lions game against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. For those of you who are out working, try not to work too hard. If you're out having fun, enjoy it. And whatever you do, go Lions, have fun, and stay safe. I'll be back with you next week with another episode of the Detroit Lions tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and goodbye for now.